You can be the manliest man you want to be at work in society, but when you come home, you have to be that gentle, caring adult that's helping support your children. Understand that they are safe in their environment, and mom and dad are on their side.
And that men are strong for allowing themselves to be vulnerable and not know and not fix and not have to talk or say anything. All they have to do is be there and hug them.
Welcome back to the Calm the Chaos Parenting Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that's hard to talk about. It's one that so many parents deal with, but not one that many people talk about. And so before we get started, I do want to give a trigger warning that the topic today, we are going to be talking about self-harm. And I know that for many, many people, this is really hard to listen to. So if that is you, then I encourage you to turn this off and go to calmthechaospodcast.com and listen to another episode. We've got lots that you can check out. But if this is something that you wish you had more information on, maybe for yourself or for your kids, I really encourage you to tune in today because we're going to be talking about what happens when you find out that this is happening with your own child, and where do you turn and what do you do? And I'm going to be talking with a family who had this very thing happen and what they did to kind of address this very dangerous and scary situation head on, and where they are today. And I promise you, it's going to give you hope. So welcome, Amanda and Marc. I am so grateful that you are here today.
We're happy to be here.
We were talking right before this, and we had a list of things that we could talk about. We said we could talk about the siblings. We could talk about how you guys are working together. We could talk about the self-harm. And I said, but that's a hard topic. Are you comfortable with that? Can you share what you told me when I asked which topic you wanted to talk about?
We feel like the self-harm is probably the most impactful thing to talk about. And when we started with the one-on-one training with Calm the Chaos, it was specifically to address self-harm practices that we just realized that our daughter had been exhibiting, and we were freaked out. And we both just wanted to dive in and try to address it and help her.
Because it was scarier sitting waiting for something to happen rather than taking positive measures to keep it to a point where it didn't get any worse. Mm-hmm. She was covering her arms with long sleeves and really in a dark place for quite some time. Calm the Chaos helped us be patient with her and let her reveal what she wanted to reveal, and then build on that.
And you said something that I kind of said when I started the episode, is that this isn't really talked about. And you felt that way when you guys first discovered this. You felt like no one was talking about this, right?
I had no idea how prevalent it was. I'm pretty transparent. And when I try to figure out all of my resources, I was reaching out, just grasping at straws, trying to figure out how I can help or how we can help our daughter. And that's when I found out how many other people and people close to me that were dealing with this that I had no idea. It's a really scary thing, but I think that when you reach out and you have the support network, I think that helps significantly.
But a lot of the people that I talked to, if it wasn't in their family, they had extended family or friends, kids going through the same thing. So it was kind of odd every time I mentioned it. I got a response. Some people, you could tell, just didn't want to talk about it. And some go, yeah, I had, or we had, or I know some people. So it's out there. That's really hard to confront by yourself.
Right, especially when you're in your own world about it. There's so many scary thoughts that go on of where could this end up and how do I help? And you're so afraid of like making the wrong move. And for myself, I grew up feeling like I didn't really fit. And I actually struggled with self-injurious behaviors growing up. For many, many, many years, I never had the intention of leaving this world. However, I did a lot of the cutting and a lot of things on my legs, and I would hide them where no one could see them. And so I I empathize with kids that go through it, but I also get really scared when I find out about it. And I think I remember the first time we talked, I said, you know, I know this is really scary and it's more common than you might think. So you're not alone here. And I think that that's important to hear. So let's back up. Let's talk just a little bit about who you are, your family, where you're from, and kind of like the dynamic of your family.
We're a family of I have two kids, twins, boy and girl, and we're here in Michigan.
They're 12 years old.
Yeah.
We're more mature parents than some parents. So we have a lot of struggle in relating to our kids for their time frame, which also Comic has helped us to back up and not really put in our experiences, but listen to theirs and then try to process that. Slowing down a little bit really helped a lot because I come from a family of 6. I'm the last child, and we're always just putting things out there, talking. But then again, we're all the same generation, and it's really hard with children, kind of with twins too, because I think when you say something to them, they hear two different things.
Mm.
So it's not really a statement. It's some might take it as an endorsement, and some may take it as a negative comment. So it's really hard to kind of filter that.
I think that both of us we just kind of push on through things, and our kids are highly sensitive children, but their personalities are on the extreme, and it's easier to deal with the child that has the extreme emotions because you always know exactly what they're thinking. But then we have Lena, who is she just balls up, and she's always been this way. She's an observer. She's very sensitive. She's very, very aware. She's just a really big feeler. But it's really, really hard to get her to open up. Mm-hmm. And she has a hard time processing and expressing her emotions. Mm-hmm. And it's just a lot more difficult. And after the whole COVID business with the virtual learning and then going back to school and her sensory issues with the noises and the sounds and the smells and just being so sensitive and not being able to learn her voice yet, it just kind of, for me, it just felt like it was just, holy moly, where did this come from? But in retrospect, when I think about it, it makes sense that her pain, that she's unable to speak, that she would express it with this type of behavior.
When she's in such a dark place, I was really afraid of losing her. Not physically, but mentally. I was afraid that she would just disconnect and just kind of exist and not really participate. Mm-hmm. That was the scariest thing I felt. She did start to talk to Amanda quite a bit, I think, patience, and her seeing that we as the parents were taking steps to try to understand her, mm-hmm. instead of us just trying to dictate to her how she should behave. She's come out of that quite a bit. She's a different person now than she was, or what I think she may have become. And there are times when she just fills my heart with the things and the smile and the activities she likes to do. But I don't know if we ever would have got here from there without no.
Yeah. We dug in pretty deep, and she was willing to go to the pediatrician for medication, thank God. And she was willing for me to look into therapy, thank goodness. And that's a tough thing because you have to have the right fit.
Yeah.
The right personality. So we started with one person because they were available. I'm like, so we started with one person that really wasn't quite the best fit. And we got on the wait list for another person that we're still working with right now. And that is something that we have to show great restraint to kind of give her the space to lead up, for her to be comfortable with this person. Mm-hmm. And we're still in that process. But you're throwing money at it just to create that comfort level. But then for us, we needed Calm the Chaos. And I didn't tell Mark about any of this, really. I had done a lot of workshops, a lot of the free workshops, but I couldn't follow through. I couldn't follow through on my own. So I would start the workshop and I would never finish it. I always loved the ideas. And I thought that it really resonated with how I felt and how we were, or how I wanted to be, as far as not being so harsh on rules and discipline and structure. And Mark and I had a lot of tension.
Quiet time.
We had a lot of tension between each other because he's old school, where, well, you should do this, and we need to have more discipline, and she should do this. And it's like, it's not working, and it's not, I'm a little bit more of out of the box kind of deal. But thank God, Mark is willing to try, because he cares about his family, he cares about his kids, but it's just getting the right tools to try to deal with it, and to get to have the right tools at the right time. And I received the email for the one-on-one coaching like that week that I found out, and I'm like, oh my God, we have to do this. This is it. This is like a God moment, And he was out doing something with Dayna. I said, you need to come home in an hour. We have a meeting with Dayna. I'll tell you later. And then within the hour, I had to kind of give him the whole lowdown and show the website and tell him about the background. And after about 30 minutes, he's like, okay, let's go. And, that I think for us has been the biggest win for us, to be able to be on the same page, have the same terminology, have the same stop, breathe, anchor. We haven't really gone too much past stop, breathe, anchor, because it's about all we can handle right now. But at least instead of us being at odds with each other, we have, I feel like we finally have each other's back. There isn't as much blaming or fear, or it's like, okay, we can joke around a little bit more, that we never were able to do that before. And I feel like the change in the energy of us has made a huge difference.
That's what I was going to mention, the stop, breathe, and anchor. I think both of our kids notice, which they may have been using against us in the past. We get to a point where we don't let things escalate. So we kind of stop and slow down the situation, try to understand the situation, give it some time, and then we'll try to get through whatever we're getting through. And both the kids, I think, recognize that. Sometimes I think they almost see it themselves. Because our son, Grant, is very explosive.
Happy, sad, angry, mad. I mean, not just anger, but it's happy. It's like huge, happy, angry.
He doesn't hear the results he's asking for. He'll go one way or another. But when he has a question now, we kind of stop and think about it for a second, and then we give him an answer. And I think he notices the delay that we're actually putting thought into it, and not necessarily giving what he wants, but letting him understand us on why we're saying it. So I think that's working very well.
I do also know that Dayna, thank God she told me, and I can't even remember how she told me, but I think that she came back to my office, because I feel like I'm always sitting in my office with remote working. And I think she came back and she kind of made mention of something, and about her, on her arms and legs, and she was doing quite a bit of damage in a really short period of time. This is not something that has been going on for a long, long time. It's something that happened real fast and real deep, like
2 to 3 weeks, maybe.
It was pretty intense. It was going quick, which was also scary. But
up to like maybe a dozen cuts within 3-4 weeks. I did not notice, and especially when she was also wearing long sleeve sweatshirts through the summer. We knew what was underneath it, and she didn't want to show it. But now she is, I'm pretty sure she stopped the cutting, but she's starting to show her arms. Yeah. And Amanda did a very good move by getting her some cream that helps to reduce scarring. And so she's been using that to kind of help herself, which I think is a good move.
I think she has some friends who also are struggling, and I feel like she was kind of thinking about, she thinks about everything, but she just doesn't say much. But she could see from our actions to other friends' reactions. She's like, oh, this person said that they're XXX. And she said their mom didn't, whatever, didn't provide the comfort that they were looking for, because they were just, kind of just screaming for, I don't know, just to be noticed and seen, and just, I think, working with her. But she, through watching some other kids, she was able to see like the huge change, and that the shift. We made a huge shift really quickly, because we were on the same page and getting the same tools.
Between starting Calm the Chaos and now, before we were waiting for the next shoe to drop, always walking on eggshells, just scared of the next day. Amanda was home with the kids most of the time because I still worked out of the house, and I could see the struggle she was going through. And it wasn't a happy situation, because I would come home and try to do my best to let it happen throughout the day and try to get change on it. But then old school ways kicked in. It's like, this shouldn't be happening, we got to find a way to get through this. But since the beginning of the program, Amanda has it easier. I don't come home to a situation that I think is so volatile, and the kids are happier. And it's a pleasure to be all together now, rather than I'm waiting for them to blow up, or me to blow up, or me to shut down, or whatever. So it's been really helpful, and I'm happy Amanda found you guys.
I think that the first couple of steps that were critical for us were what was the it's okay, it's not too late, because you always fear that you're just such a huge failure in life, and the kids are screwed, and it'll never ever would, should, could, all of those words. But in a way, it was kind of lowering the bars of expectations and lowering my view of how things were. And it's okay if she doesn't go to school. It's okay. You're not a horrible parent if in this moment they're not going to school. In this moment, you're not meeting all the expectations that you think that you need to do. And when I think back on all of that, I think that's all BS of all the expectations and that we're supposed to do, that really we got back to basics with what was the most important thing, which is seeing our children for who they are and what they're experiencing and how they're feeling, and just to be there with them, not fix it, not candy coat it, but just to sit there and let them be them and feel what they're feeling and work through it with them. And that's what I think was the biggest first couple steps for us.
What Danielle told us is just pick a couple phrases that let your kids know that you're there for support, and then just stay quiet, because they don't process like we process. They're still going at it slowly. So my phrase was, I'm here for you. I'm here for you anytime. And then we just stay quiet. A couple times, Lena's actually sat 15, 20 minutes, and she'll say something, or she'll come and snuggle, and you can just feel the tension leave the room.
I absolutely love what you guys are saying about how the changes weren't necessarily about what she needed to do or how she needed to change. It was about how you approached it and how much you showed her that you were there for her, that you were there to listen. And one of the other things I want to make sure really stands out, and you already addressed it, but I want to make sure, because this is a serious issue. So we're not just saying take a course or get a coach and everything will be fine. I remember when we sat down, I said, I want to make sure you have someone locally, and I want to make sure that you have support there, and we can support you in between, because no matter what support you get locally, they're not going to help you be the change. They're going to be focusing on helping Lena. They're going to be focused on the health aspect, the mental health aspect. And so I know that you needed the help. And to hear that that's what really made the biggest difference is just, it makes my heart swell up seeing. And I knew then when I talked to you a couple of months ago, how much love you guys had for each other. But then you could tell you struggled to get on the same page. And now you finish each other's sentences and you're definitely on the same page. And I love hearing how you're interacting with both of your kids and how you're seeing what they're struggling with differently and approaching things differently. What are some resources that you found that you would want other parents to have when it comes to, like, if they found out that their child is engaging in self-injurious behaviors, what are some resources that you found that you think are really important for them?
Actually, talking to other people, finding out how common it is, find out that we're not bad people.
Just to put us at ease. I think for the parent to ground themselves is the number one thing that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And then to like, does she go to school? I don't care. It's okay. You know, if she misses 30 days of sixth grade, who cares? You know, how can we get them back to a place where they feel safe? I think that's the number one thing. That was the medication, like the game changer. I don't think so, to be honest with you. But I think that it is if it's a placebo effect, I don't care. I'm going to do it.
Right. But a resource is going to your local doctor, your local therapist, finding someone locally. That is an important resource. You know, we can put some links below for just some helplines if you don't have anything local. 988 is like the crisis lifeline, just in case anyone's needing that. So I just didn't know if there were other resources, that you found really helpful in solving this.
Yeah. So we did talk to our pediatrician to get the meds prescribed. A week of that, and she did calm down a little bit, but
it was kind of that daily reminder that I have that help, daily reminder. But I think it's just staying calm and cool. And we caught it pretty early, so it wasn't like a really entrenched behavior. Mm-hmm. So that would be a different situation, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that, I feel like an entrenched behavior, I think that would absolutely require escalating it a little bit more than what we had to, and we would have if we were at that point, or if things weren't really working out with the path that we were choosing. Do you think that the Calm the Chaos framework would be a tool in that toolbox for dealing with this situation? 1,000,000%. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And I know I couldn't do it myself. So that's why we reached out to you for the one-on-one training. And that was kind of a no-brainer for us, because we were at such a low point as an entire family that we kind of needed the handhold.
Mm-hmm. You've got to fix the parent first. The child will just go deeper into whatever self-harm or dark space, being non-social, if the parents don't fix themselves first, so that the atmosphere invites the child back in. Sometimes I would go in the little room and be pitch black. She wouldn't be on her phone. She'd just be balled up in a corner, sometimes whimpering.
Playing one song over and over and over again. Like,
how can I get in to help them? And you can't. You have to create a gate for them to come out of it. Mm-hmm. That's why the parents have to be fixed first.
You've shared so much and so openly, and I can't thank you enough for the parents who are listening to this. And also just, I feel blessed having heard the story. What are some of those expectations, and how did those shift?
Some of the expectations, maybe being old school again, I wanted them to be like me or be like us. But again, they're not us. So we just have to have the temperament step back and understand who they are before we can actually really start to interact with them at both of our comfort levels, because I think it became a compromise. We understand who they were. They understood that we were changing our ways so they could understand us better. And I think we're getting to that point now, because quite often they actually interact with each other much better. Because it used to be, before we started, is, the sun's going to come up in the morning. Saying Greg would say, no, but it's going to get light out. I mean, they just couldn't agree on anything. That was really frustrating, because a lot of times I just don't want to say anything because I don't know what's going to be coming.
I think that they kind of beat us down and just felt really, really tired. And it's like we just gave up. I think that we, through the whole COVID bit with the home learning, the whole virtual learning, and just trying to keep up the same pace that we always had, that we're always able to do. Then with the COVID bit, and then moving into middle school, it just all fell apart. And I was thinking about this the other day when I was thinking about, talking with you. When I grew up, I'm only 4 years younger than Mark, but it's like
for people who are listening on podcast, there was definitely some like looks that went back and forth about.
I feel like we crossed a generation in those 4 years, but I grew up with basically the latchkey kid, and I don't know why, or I don't know how I managed to. I just always did what I was supposed to do. But, I got up, I got myself dressed, I made male breakfast, I walked myself to school. I went to school because that's what I was supposed to do. Now, is that always, in my perspective, is that always the best thing for leading a happy life? I don't think so. I don't think that everyone has to do everything exactly the way they're supposed to do.
When you even said that Lena was that quiet one who was doing what she was quote unquote supposed to do, but yet she was holding so much of it in, and then that was coming out in these self-injurious behaviors.
When Amanda was talking about that, something just popped into my mind that I think Calm the Chaos has helped us with. At the end of last year, it was very difficult because Grant had a tonsillectomy, so he was off for 6 weeks. We went back to school and he caught strep.
Day one back.
And then when he got over that, he went back and it wasn't completely cured, so he got strep again. And so he's out of school for about
2 months.
2 months. But Lena being a twin, if Grant's not going to school, I don't have to go to school.
I don't think she had the confidence to go to school with him being home. I don't know if it was really
because it was also the first year of middle school. So, completely different building, completely different environment. My brother's not here. I'm all alone. I have all these sensory issues, people touching me, things being too loud. She's left-handed, and the teachers didn't understand to put her at the end of the table so that her arm was getting bumped. All these little things, and she was scared of school. This year, they're sharing a couple of classes together. They're walking to school together quite often. And Lena has been feeling ill sometimes, but Grant has been going to school. This twin thing of if she's not, I'm not, I think it's starting to fade away. And I think it's because the household is more comfortable that Grant understands, I'm my own person, because I kind of had this conversation. I know I'm rambling on, but we had this conversation. So Grant, 7th grade is kind of the beginning of your life. You have to decide to do what you want. And Lena has to decide what Lena wants to do. And we're here to support you in whatever you want to do. So school is your job now, and we're going to support you. And I'm glad, I told him that. I reinforced with him, I'm glad you're going to school by yourself. This is very, I'm so proud of you. This is really making mom and dad happy. And it is. And sometimes you can just see he glows when he starts to get compliments that he's earned, because we're waiting for the time to give him those compliments.
Well, we did a lot of nagging, and all our conversations with the kids were basically just a lot of nagging, a lot of reminders, a lot of, I feel like over the summer when we really dug in with the Calm the Chaos and we really dug in with trying to change ourselves, that we started to do a lot more positive commentary. We started to have more fun. But today, here's a little story for you for today. Lena wasn't feeling very good. And I don't think that it was really a sickness. I think that she was feeling anxiety. I let her stay home. I went into her room and I said, Lena, you really need to get up. You need to get up so that you can get to sleep tonight. This was yesterday, so that you can go to school tomorrow. And I went in and I said, what I want you to do, Lena, and you could see her face. She's like, oh God, here it comes. I said, what I want you to do, Lena, is I want you to binge on your phone and your computer so that you could stay awake. Like, what? And because obviously she was already not in school, and I knew that she was having anxiety.
Yeah.
But I just kind of wanted it to be kind of funny. And something, because what else is she going to do when she's home alone? And I know she's struggling with anxiety. And what happened is that she did binge on her because she's going to do it anyway. Might as well just get credit for it. What she ended up doing that I was like, oh my God, we're so amazing, because we didn't have anything to do with this, but we're still amazing.
Yes.
She reached out to her friends in different parts of the country, and she reached out to her friend, and her friend said, she said, I'm anxious. What do I do? And her friend said, do a puzzle. And I came home from a meeting, and she was doing a puzzle in her living room. Well, that's great. That's really a great idea, Dayna. And then I had to work for a little while, and I came back out, and she had taken a shower, and her hair looked great, and she smelled good. And I said, she said, I took a shower. I said, I can tell you look great. And she said that she told me how she reached out to a friend, and they said, take a shower. And then she went for a walk. So we went from her hiding in her room in the total darkness in a ball with her self-harm, and that was probably mostly May and June. And we went from that to now her advocating for herself and reaching out to her support network and I made sure to say, that's a really good idea. It's good to have friends who really support you in a positive way, because there are a lot of it too. Now, she doesn't have one because she's pretty firm, but to speaking for herself, thinking, and then following through on these positive steps that help her get herself out of her anxiety. So I was so proud of her yesterday.
And she got school today, but Grant got sick from kind of probably what I had. So he stayed home. So they're taking the initiative to go to school for themselves and not doubling it as, if she doesn't, I don't, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see that today.
I mean, I think it's just huge changes, and it's just those small shifts.
Yeah. And, someone listening to this might be like, wait a second, I started listening to this because I'm struggling with this, or I'm worried about my kid. And you're telling me all you did was you stopped and breathed and said some sort of anchor, and you changed the way you interacted. Like, that's all I have to do.
Every single minute of every single day, of every single pattern that is an established pattern, that we had to think, wait a minute, we're doing it again. Wait a minute, we're doing it again. And thank God it was a we.
Yeah.
But as I've heard that a lot of people can do it with just one person.
Yeah.
So I know that happens quite often.
Well, it was quite some work, because the results kind of showed in us first. Mm-hmm. Which kind of had to, because then when we practiced something, the kids got one picture instead of this, that, I'm confused, now I'm angry, or I'm withdrawn. It's like I followed Amanda's lead, and she followed my lead, and we just stayed calm through the whole thing, and things came around.
Yeah, there was
and I think you knew what was at stake, right? Like you were dealing with something that was so in your face, that was so clear what's at stake, that you knew you had to come together or things weren't going to work out. And it's not just that, and I commend you on the ability to come together, but it's also how you were able to really do the hard work. It sounds so simple, right? Okay, you're going to stay calm and you're going to change the way you react and respond. Sounds simple, but in practice, it's a lot of hard work, because we're going back, like you said, and we're reviewing every habit we've had that we've built over the last 40 or 50 years. And that is hard to do. And a lot of parents feel like, what's the point? Is it really going to make a difference? And I think you are a testament that it makes a huge difference.
It does. And it is some of the things were like our singular background. Yeah, I mean, maybe some things that we didn't even know about ourselves, put our egos to the side to work with our child, because we're in this together. And she was in crisis, and we needed to support her. Yeah. We didn't know how to do it, so we reached out.
I love that.
In the beginning, I have to admit this, so we were in such a bad place, I didn't see how this was going to work. Days and weeks and months of practice. Now, the other day, I had an issue with Dayna on it, and I went back to the old mom, and she completely shut down. And Amanda walked by me and was like, why are we doing these old phones? You all don't want. And it's just like, when I went late in the bedroom, I was like, yeah, she's right. And it did take Amanda about 45 minutes to get laying in the ball opened up bed. And this is kind of late at night. I get up very early. Amanda had to suffer from this late night when I laying it down from my behavior, which I really give her credit for, because as soon as she did that, she was able to mention that to me, I knew I was in the wrong. I wasn't doing the right thing.
But you didn't yell at me.
No, I didn't, because I knew in the moment that if I don't control the old Mark, things are going to take longer. And sometimes it's best just to be quiet, listen to what they have to say. And I don't even know what it was. It was just something was not going my way, and I wanted to let me and Lena know about it. And did it the wrong way.
You wanted she was sick because we all like had this whole cascading of sickness with the beginning of August. And so you wanted her to take an ibuprofen.
Well,
It was something so
small. Yeah.
Ibuprofen.
But you know what, Marc, you're human.
yeah.
You know, and I think that that's what I love about what you just shared is that vulnerability. And in that humility, you're sharing like, I'm human and it's okay to mess up. It's okay to yell. It's okay to break that relationship a little bit and then reconnect afterwards. And the fact that you recognized it and you didn't say, okay, I'm going to keep pushing, even though this is where I'm at. You said, fine, I'll pause. I'll go and lay in bed. I'll go to bed. Amanda's got this. Tomorrow we can reconnect. We can reconfigure and figure out how to build from here. And that takes so much of us to be able to do that. And so it's, you know, resilience and fortitude. And then your daughter seeing that. And that is just so amazing.
And then you think, what's your question about expectations? You think that the old school expectations of raising children is to get them to take that Tylenol. But really, what the expectations are, I think, and I'm sure Marc thinks too, now that we've kind of been living through this a little bit, is that they're learning from us. And what we can teach them is how to manage difficult situations, how to manage. I don't want to do that. And back to the iceberg that you have is like, what's going on underneath? It's like I have the picture of the iceberg in my head. It's like, I know it's not about the Tylenol. You were tired. It was late. It was late at night. It's not the Tylenol. It's like, what's going on? It's getting low, sitting next to her, connecting, and just being quiet for a couple of minutes because that's what she needs. And just to say, honey, what happened? And trying to think, what was she doing just before this? She was playing her Star Stable video game, and there was something going on that was upsetting to her with some of the people that she was playing with. That upset her. And that sent her in a tailspin. So that's what she was reacting to, not, I don't want to take a Tylenol.
Well, key thing, both of them thing in my fault. First I grew up, and when I tried to get her to take the ibuprofen, she kept on saying, not now, later. And I didn't trust her to do it. I was blocking out what she was telling me because I wanted her to take it. And I think right now we're working on the potential of our kids just growing up being good people and adults. Now what's going to happen tomorrow? What's at the end of the process for these children and for us? Because I really think that it's a day-to-day building character, building confidence, and building trust that will get them to be good adults.
That know themselves and know that they're worthy and their voice is worthy. And I love what your daughter's learning through your relationship and how you're willing to reevaluate how you're doing things. So it's really amazing. And I know this is just the beginning for you guys. What would you say to someone who's listening to this, who is at the beginning where you guys were, and they just found out, or they are maybe worried that it might be happening, that there might be some self-injurious behaviors? What would you want them to know right now?
They're not a failure. It's not their fault. That it's not too late. What the child needs is really them. They just need their parents, and they need to be just surrounded with love, and they just need to know that it's going to be okay.
I don't want to say something to all the men out there.
Ooh, I love that. Yes, please.
Being a parent is not only mom. Being a parent means that dad sacrifices and changes his roles and starts to listen. You can be the manliest man you want to be at work in society, but when you come home, you have to be that gentle, caring adult that's helping to support your children. Understand that they are safe in their environment and mom and dad are on their side.
And that men are strong for allowing themselves to be vulnerable and not know and not fix and not have to talk or say anything. All they have to do is be there and hug them. And
because they can fix things, but it's just not in the way they think they have to. You got to fix things with understanding, support, conversation. And just barking out orders is for boot camp. Raising kids is gentle, calm, and kind. And real men can wear pink. They don't have to be black all the time.
Sitting there doing the puzzle with Dayna meant everything.
Yeah.
And you didn't even say anything that whole time.
Well, so I came home last night with my cold and started getting me pretty rough. And I wanted to go to bed. I wanted to just take a couple ibuprofen, lay down. We need doing a puzzle. Amanda and Dayna both know that I get sucked into puzzles once I start there. So, and
but you're really good at it.
I am. But anyways, I started doing the puzzle. We just stayed quiet. Dayna had her earbud in. We were just doing puzzle together, and she took a little break. I kept on doing it, and
they finished a 500-piece puzzle in one day.
So Amanda and Grant went out and watched Milo, which we were introduced to, and Dayna and I just kept on going to it. And when we only had about 40 pieces left, Dayna just came out, started smack. I maybe did 10 out of the 40 pieces, but when she got that done, her body language calmed down because I think she had a sense of accomplishment. Even though she didn't do everything, it was done. Of course, it was one piece missing, and that kind of upset. So,
that'll drive me crazy.
Yeah.
That is just so beautiful. And is there anything I didn't ask about that you would like to share?
Well, you know what? We're just in the very beginning of this. We haven't fixed everything. We know that we still have a long path ahead, and we have a lot of behavior changes in ourselves and the patterns with our kids. What we need to work on as we keep moving forward is to really get to know them better than how we already know them as people, rather than telling our kids what to do. We need to kind of incorporate having a lot more fun. We took the summertime to really dig in because we were lucky we could do it over the summer. But we canceled a ton of our plans, and we just tried to keep it low key. I think that was also really helpful to just minimize the stress and anxiety and just work on what we needed to work on. And it's just the beginning. We have a lot more that we need to learn. I'm only in page 70 of the book. I have many just to go through.
And you've had all the success. I think that's really important for people to hear too, though, is that some people think that they have to go through the whole thing. They have to finish the whole framework and roadmap to start seeing change. And if you implement those first few stages, it really makes a difference.
Yeah. Stop, anchor, breathe, and thought swap. Boom.
Well, this program has actually helped me at work too.
Wow.
I work at a large manufacturing company, and it's always chaotic. Things don't happen as planned. You gotta, pick up where other people left off, and it used to get me really frustrated. But it might be that my home environment is much more relaxed now. I'm able to take that to work and go, okay, this isn't the end of the world. Let's just stop, breathe, and anchor, take a moment, gather our thoughts, gather our abilities, and just move on from there. And it has helped me in a couple situations where it's been noticed. It's like, why did you do it that way? Or, you got it done so quickly. Or just little comments like that. And it's like, you don't want to hear the whole story, but I just took my time, relax, focus, and move on.
Yeah.
I love that. That is so amazing.
You can teach old dog new tricks.
Yeah. I love that. Well, Marc, Amanda, this has been absolutely amazing and so heartfelt, so inspiring. And I know that there is so much information that parents are going to be able to take from this. So thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today.
Well, thank you so much for your program. It's really helping us out.
That's been life-changing. So thank you.
That is what I live for. And that's why I do this work. And so it lights me up. So I could do this all day, every day. So thank you.
Kudos out to Danielle.
Yes. Yeah. Danielle's an amazing, she's one of our, for those of you listening, Danielle's one of our Calm the Chaos coaches, and Marc and Amanda worked one-on-one with Danielle over the last 3 months, to work through what they've talked about on this call. They work step by step through the Calm the Chaos framework and roadmap. And with Danielle's support, they were able to implement the framework. So if you're interested in learning more about the framework, you can go to calmthechaosbook.com. You can grab a copy of the book. It is out everywhere books are sold now. And we also have a workshop coming up, which is called our 7 Days to Less Chaos. And we're going to be walking through the exact same roadmap, the exact same framework that Amanda and Marc used to help their family, so you can help your family as well. And you can go to calmthechaosworkshop.com to learn more about that workshop. It is starting very soon. I don't know when this episode is going live, but it's going to be happening very, very soon. So be sure to check that out if you are looking for support for your family. And one last note that I want to say before I close out, and that is, if you or someone that you love is struggling with self-injurious behaviors or suicidal ideation, there is a national hotline that you can call, which is 988. You also can check out, we're going to put some links in the comments or links in the show notes, but you can also text HOME to 741-741, which will reach out to a crisis counselor to help with self-injurious behaviors. And that is for your child. That is for yourself as well. You can chat with them, text with them, or even message them on WhatsApp. So we want to make sure that you have those resources, and we want to make sure that you have help. So we will be back next week talking with you about more ways that you can calm the chaos, create a family you've always wanted. Just go to calmthechaospodcast.com to follow along. See you next week. Bye, guys.